Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So, what's being suggested here is that everything, everything is a story. I'm a story, you're a story, everything is a story. So, everything that comes up is a story. Every single question is a story. Every single answer is a story. It's a never ending story. It reminds me of that movie what I watched when I was a kid. And this is just a story. I'm going into story right now. Never ending story. It's about a kid that was supposed to save this fantasy land called Fantasia because it was being destroyed by the malevolent forces of a villain called the Nothing. So the Nothing, everything that it touches gets destroyed. So what's being expressed here is similar to that. I'm just going to mute just a second. Is that everything that what's being expressed here is a story, and this illumination is to spotlight or to see through that story that the storyteller, is a story. So there's nothing that's really real, but the story feels real. Separation feels real, but that's a story too. Everything that comes up is a story. There's nothing wrong or right with the story. True story or fictional story is also a story. So everything and nothing is a story. Nothing is a story. Emptiness is a story. Freedom is a story. Because the one that's coming up with all of these words is a story. There's no primary story. It's just a story reinforcing the story that it's real, that this is really happening. There is nothing happening. You can also say that that's a story. So what's really going on? If everything is a story, and it points out to a story, it's just a story, it's a never ending story over and over again, what's really going on? Well, it's a story as well, but nothing is happening, nothing is going on, there's no one here, but that's just another story again. So, what are we doing here? What we're doing here is also a story, trying to understand a story, trying to get out of the story, trying to reveal the story, trying to end the story. But all that I have said is just a story trying to get out of the story. So the story can't get out of the story because getting out of the story is also a story. So this is a story that's just trying to point out, just trying to express, trying to suggest that everything and anything is a story. Stories about liberation, stories about awakening, stories about falling away, stories about the me, stories about the no me, the stories about freedom, the stories about bondage, the stories about suffering. Everything and anything that comes up is a story. Because the storyteller and the story are both stories. Real stories and fictional stories are stories. What's that comment there? Everlasting story, yes. But that's just a story too, because every word tells a story. It points to a story. What's being expressed here does not have any words. It's wordless. It's nothingness. It's emptiness. It's can't be told in a story. So all I can do is talk about a story to dispel the story, to show that it's a story. It's a pretty good story, but no one's ever told it. No one's ever read the story. No one's ever told the story. No one is in the story. It's like a book of blank pages. Yeah. Everlasting is also a story. Yep, yep, yeah. Also a story anyway. Um, but what's being expressed here is what's being suggested here, that although this is a story, this is also the end of the story. There's no beginning, there's no middle, there's no end. But this is the end and the beginning at the same time. So all the stories, seemingly there's pages, but they're all appearing all at once. No epilogue, no chapter 1, no chapter 2, no sequels, no book 2, no trilogies. It's all happening all at once. There's no time, there's no space, there's no characters, all at once. There's no happily ever after, because that's just a story. There's no hero in the journey. There was once a time in the story that I thought that everybody's a hero going through their own journey, trying to figure out their journey. So they go through these levels, they go through these stages. I think there's like 12 or 7. I don't know what that even is anymore, because everything is a story. So when there's this dropping of the story, meaning that it's seen that everything is a story, everything just becomes like, whoa, what the fuck? There's no storyteller. It's a story going on, but there's no one in it. Going back to that never-ending story when I watched as a kid, that has the flying dogs and the princess and the place called Fantasia, and then he was threatened by this malevolent force called the Nothing, and the Nothing, when it touches um, everything, it destructs it. But what if that is flipped around, that the seeing that the Nothing and the story are appearing simultaneously, and once it's recognized or seen that nothing is happening, so the nothing destroys the belief, destroys the hope, destroys the story, destroys the character, destroys the idea, destroys the pages. When everything is destroyed, when everything is seen as a story, when the belief and the hope and the idea of something to get, something to go, somewhere to go, something to achieve, something to attain, when all is lost, then there's this, whoa, it's a story, it has started and it also has ended. We'll start with that. You are not the one or Neo. No, there's no Neo or a one, because that's just another story. But if you have any questions, please go ahead. You can raise your hand, or we can just smile and gaze here at nothing. Emerson, is everything that you're talking about is a concept? Yes. And there's also no concepts. Emerson, I liked it when you talked about unconditional love and freedom. Yeah, but that's just a story too. This is a seeing through that when there is a holding on to ideas like unconditional and freedom, although they're not really ideas because you can't really imagine unconditional, but seemingly in the story, a seeker wants to latch on to that idea that this is something that I can be or I can achieve, or it's my goal is to be unconditionally loving, or could it's my goal, it's my I want to attain that unconditional freedom. So instead of, but what's being exposed is that there is this clarity, there's this obviousness that there's nothing happening, everything is unconditional, everything is anarchy, everything is wild and free. The conditional me, which is just a story, puts the freedom into a storyboard and makes it into something that is achievable or a goal. Nothing wrong or right about that, but that's just getting stuck in the story. Again, nothing wrong or right about that. Oh, sorry. Am I buffering? Sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going. Let me just check my internet here.
No, I mean it's perfect.
It's perfect? All right.
Yeah, you look
Okay.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The Facebook people are if you guys want to join the Zoom Facebook folks, there is a link there on top. You guys can join that. I'll pin it. Sorry if it's buffering here. Um, Someone said everything is not a story, that would be incorrect, and that's another story. Incorrect and correct is just another story. Question here. Um, it's always interesting to read this Facebook, I mean, this YouTube comments. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Emerson, can you talk about Nisargadatta? Um, I don't really know what to talk about Nisargadatta. You know, when it's expressed that everything is a story, that's also a story. Lee goes or Lai goes, what do you mean by nothing is happening? But hearing is happening, see is happening, eating is happening, and so on. Do you want to ask that question? I'll answer it. But if you want to jump in and ask, add to that question, what is meant by nothing is happening is seemingly there's this appearance of everything happening, the seeing, the talking, the eating, the expression. But what's being expressed is that this is actually stillness, appearing as movements, appearing as eating, appearing as happening, appearing as whatever. So stillness is appearing as whatever, or stillness is movement, whatever movement that is. Silence is also sound, appearing as hearing or talking or whatever it appears. So there's this dualistic perception, which is the illusion that I am talking, that someone is hearing, that there's a separation, that there's something going on. When it's seen through when it's seen through by no one, it's just really stillness simultaneously appearing as movement. It's just sounds simultaneously appearing as silence. So nothing is happening. Let me take you a little bit further than that. You know, kind of like when we're talking about non-duality here, right? This is uncompromising non-duality. Um, like in a nighttime sleep, since there's no time, it's just a story. Everything that happens in a nighttime, sleep, or dream is nothing happening. So since there's no before and after, there's no time here and there, everything is appearing all at once without any separation, without any time, without anyone moving through space and time because that's the illusion. So in a nighttime dream, when there's deep sleep, this is also deep sleep, meaning nothing is happening. So everything is happening all at the same time. No duality. There's no separation. So everything is occurring instantly, spontaneously at the same time. Stillness and chaos appearing together. I'm not sure why it's buffering. Sorry about that. It's buffering apparently on YouTube there. Sorry about that, guys. I'll release the video on YouTube then. Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. Um, can you talk about time the way that you explained it, with the wire? All right. Um, so there's this illusion that time is segmented. So this is timelessness appearing as a wrinkle, as time, as an error. There's no error, there's no wrinkle really, but this is timelessness appearing as the past, the present, and the future. So it appears in a linear, the past, the present, and the future. When there's this seeing that there's no one here, meaning there's no timekeeper, everything is appearing all at once. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. William, hello.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
I love the blazer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Very nice color
Thank you.
and texture.
Thank you. I forgot to dry clean a whole bunch of stuff, so this was one of the wedding ones, and I'm like, I'll wear it. Why not?
So basically, what we're all trying to find, or what I'm trying to find, is what's happening this. But I can't find it because I'm waiting for it to become this.
Who's waiting then? Who's this? Who's waiting? I don't know. It's just an idea of someone that's waiting? Or is it really someone waiting?
Well, there's two things. There's a feeling of like sort of anxiousness, like when am I going to see it? And there's also the thinking going around it, like when I'm liberated, this, that, and the other. So I'm thinking, well, that's a sign that I'm still waiting for something.
It looks like you just wrote a whole bunch of stuff on a paper. It's like a script. And then you are reading the script now. It's like making the unreal real, right? Because all of that is just an idea. So that obscures that what's being sought for is already here. Well, it's not really here, but it's already this. Well, it's not really this, but it's it's not in words. It's not in ideas. It's not in stories. So the dissolution of the belief, there's no one to dissolve, but the seeing that the belief that something will happen, that there is someone to happen it to, that there's a William that it can happen to, is the seeing that everything is appearing perfectly already, infinitely free. So all of these bondages of like, when am I going to get this? I don't see it. That seems to be the veil that hides the freedom that's unconditionally free. There's nothing wrong or right about that, though.
But when we say things like there's no William, there's no Emerson, and all of that,
Yeah.
you still are called Emerson. Like I call you
Yeah,
Emerson.
yeah, of course, yeah.
How are you? And we have a conversation. Like, and there's a person there. Do you know what I mean? There is someone there.
Who are you talking to?
You do things, Emerson. You do things. you set up Zoom meetings, you walk your dog,
Did I
etc.
really?
I've been on the phone to you when you said I'm out walking my dog and we've been having
So
a chat.
let's go back to what I was saying in the beginning, right? In the story, someone set up a story. There's someone named Emerson. In the story, there's a William asking Emerson questions if he's real or not. And in the story, this is what's going to be the response. So the story over there thinks that the story over here is real. So it keeps on coming up with stories to make the story over here by real by trying to go into a narrative saying that, well, hey, if you respond to the name Emerson, yes, in the story I respond to the name Emerson, but what's been seen here, or what's being the seeing here is that there's this story and nothing appearing at the same time, meaning it's really nothing. But I'm not going to go around and shake everybody up and slap people saying it's really nothing. It's really nothing. It's really nothing. Surely in the story, this character would be locked up. But what's just being expressed here is just this radical honesty that it's really seeing nothing. It's seeing nothing as a story as happening simultaneously. So it's really nothing happening as a story. Nothing happening as William. Kind of like in my story there. It's kind of like that brilliant, kind of like kids' movies that I enjoyed when I was a kid in the 80s. It's this fantasy being threatened by nothing. But what's missed there is that nothing is fantasy. Fantasy is nothing. So all the fantasy that you're telling me is really nothing.
So in the story,
Okay.
there's two
I
separate
thought that
characters.
would do it. Go ahead.
In the story, in the story, there's separate characters. At the moment, there's William and Emerson, but there's also other separate characters. And then in this message, they say there isn't anyone.
There is no one. There is no one because that is just a story again, right? So that's just a narrative. Nothing really happened. Nothing really, really happened. So trying to think that there is something happening is a narrative. It's a story again. Does that make sense? It doesn't actually.
I don't know, but energetically, it's hitting me. So that's all that counts, really. As long as the energy helps dissolve William, then it doesn't matter if I understand the words or not.
Yeah. It's something that cannot really be understood because the one that's trying to understand it can only operate in stories. Only
Okay.
understands in stories. So it keeps on asking stories after stories after stories so that it can dispel the story because it heard that there's a story that when someone loses the story, they're liberated. That someone transcends the story and becomes this jolly storyteller of nothing, that it has become special. Special is also a story, so nothing is really special as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you. Thank you. I just realized here that YouTube is completely off. So I am going to disable YouTube. Sorry, guys, because we'll just keep on doing that. I don't know what happened, but I'll just release the recording later. VJ Ian goes, fallen into itself, fallen in love, fallen angels, no one anywhere, just unemployed, light flasher, sleepwalking, maybe who knows, fallen in love. Yes, stories. Sarah goes, Emerson, when you mean it's a story, you mean all stories made up by the me? Because Emerson seems still to have stories. Yeah, Emerson is a story. Everything is a story. Everything is a story. It's just really stating the obvious that everything seems to be happening is a story. But in the apparent story of the apparent Emerson, there's a seeing that all of these are stories. So it's no longer believed. It's no longer hoped for. It's free. This story is seen as a story, so that it doesn't have any more weight to it. It doesn't identify with the story anymore. It sees it as a story. Do you want to add to that, Sarah? No? Okay. Yeah, everything that is it's like the dead end basically. The dead end basically is that there is seemingly a a story, and it's being exposed that the one that thinks in all of these stories is the story. So it's a story that reinforces itself. It recreates the story over and over again to maintain that the story is real. The end of No Me is also a story. It's like a dangling carrot again, right? At the end of No Me, there's a seeing that there's no me, that it's seen as a story. It's kind of like believing in um, the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, when it's seen. So Emerson, anyone here is a story like Santa Claus or Mickey Mouse or Pinocchio. It's all a story. Question here from Antonella goes, wow, Emerson, so simple and clear. Thank you, Antonella. Kim goes, I feel that this is a silent communication. Yeah, well, all communication really is just silence that appears as sounds, or sounds that appears as silence. There's really no two. There's no communicator and there's no one hearing this. That's why it's being said that this can't be heard. It can't be heard because the one that's listening is imaginary. The one that's speaking is also not here. So the past, the present, and the future, this is completely a story. William, go ahead. And I'll get to your question there, Dennis.
Yeah, so I think the idea's gone. I don't know, it might come back, but I think the idea's gone that you've got something that I haven't got.
Yes.
But
because there's no one here and there's no one there. So who can get it?
But there's still
I was not hoping for the but go ahead.
But there's still a deep hope and belief that if I listen to this communication enough and interact with you and other speakers enough, it will cause something like the dying. It will be caused by
that's a story again. So that's the dangling of the carrot that you dangle in front of yourself as a story motivator to keep the story alive. That at the end of the story, there's going to be a hope for me to be liberated. But what's being expressed here is that there's no you to be liberated because you and liberation are both stories. What's being expressed here is that there's no words, there's no stories to describe what is this, the indescribable wordlessness of this, the absence, the stillness, that peace that can never be figured out, that love that cannot be personalized, that freedom that cannot be limited, that wordlessness that cannot be experienced because it's wordless. What's being expressed here cannot be segmented, cannot be divided, cannot be allocated, it cannot be rationed. Here's your freedom, there's your freedom, here's my freedom, there's this freedom. It's all free. It cannot be separated. There's the illusion that there is this separateness, or there's the me, or the me that drops away. Both are illusory. But what's being expressed here is that since this is already infinitely this, and not even this, it's the wordlessness of this. There's never been anyone here except infinity, because everyone or anyone or other signifies separation. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's a story. It's a story of infinity having this fragmented chapters.
Got another question. But that is like being smacked in the face with love. The question is, like you said about the dangling the carrot in front. As long as there's a sense that I am someone, whether that's here or any other body, there's always going to be a carrot in front of it, whether that's the next however much money, the next holiday, the next good experience, or the next or liberation. Would you say there's
repeat that again? That didn't make sense at all.
So for as long as there's a sense of feeling like someone, there's always going to be a carrot dangled in front of you.
You're masking the story with another story. You just see that? As long as there is a sense, which is a story, of someone, which is a story, there's going to be a carrot, which is a story, for someone, which is a story. So a story just made up a story, and on top of a story, on top of another story, to be able to get out of the story. I'm telling you, there's no way out of the story, because this is the never-ending story. And there's this freedom in seeing that this is just a story. It's stating the obvious here, that in the story there's no real, but it feels real. It's appearing as real, but it's not really happening. So you come up with these questions that keeps on reigniting that I believe this story, and there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what's happening. But I see through it. With a lot of love, of course.
This message is pure love, isn't it?
It's honest.
Not the love the me wants, but the other kind of love that the me hates. Thanks.
Thank you. Dennis goes, is there seeing and hearing seeming happening without us seemingly characters for it to happen through? Yeah, it's wholeness, right? It's wholeness. So the experience and the experiencer is illusory. It's to experience things separately. So there's like a lens of separation that is seemingly blocking. Nothing is blocked. This wholeness, this completeness. So in the dream of separation, or the illusion that it's separate, it sees that everything is centric. Like, I am feeling this, I am separate, I have to get this, there's nothing. It does not, it can't see through the veil that this feeling of like my thoughts are running is actually wholeness appearing as separation. It's infinity appearing as time, fractured time. It's completeness appearing as I am not complete. I have something to get. It's this wordless appearing in stories. So every story that there is, this is the flip, right? Is emptiness. Is nothing. So the fear of nothing devouring or killing the story is what the story is looking for. It's what the story is seeking for. That's why a lot of these stories are here looking for its own demise. Eligio, hello.
Hey.
Hey,
I
how's
hope
it going?
you can hear me. I'm traveling, so
Yeah, I can hear you.
yeah, I was thinking about the I've been thinking a lot. Anyways, language.
Language.
What role does language play in losing it?
Language
You
is.
have it.
Okay, repeat that again. So language.
Okay, language, or language and concepts, really. There's language and concepts.
Okay,
And that
language and
seems to be
concept. Mm.
a veil at times.
Everything is a
to
veil. So everything is a veil. Everything is an illusion, but it's also nothingness. It's also emptiness. So everything that's appearing is illusory, but it's also the wordless, the mystery. I don't know what words to call it. The one that cannot be expressed fully. It's expressing in the expressible, like words, language, separation, duality. So there's no difference between duality and non-duality because they're just words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you cannot, so I don't even know that. You can't stop there.
No, yeah,
You can't
yeah.
stop anywhere.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Just want
Eligio.
to say hi.
Hi, Eligio.
Hello.
Hello.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later. Kim. Hi, Kim. How are you doing? Kim goes, the attention goes out and the, what's that say? The attention goes out and the I takes everything to be a me. Apparently, yeah, yeah. There's almost kind of like this consistent holding on, grasping to a narrative. It's the story. The story can only survive in stories, so it creates stories. It's like a story generating more stories, the me generating the I'm experiencing this, I am doing this, and that. There's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just a self-generating story that feels completely real. Sarah, hey Sarah. So how did it even start, and that there is a me or no me, as the losing or magic by adulthood losing the magic of childhood and wonder. Okay, it's going to be shocking, but I'm just going to say it. Everything is happening all at once. So there was no beginning of the me, and there's no ending of the me. So there is no me, and there's no me. Everything is happening all at once. There's never been anything outside of this. There's never been anything outside of this. All that there is this. So all the past, all the all the future, all the history is all this. There is the imaginary movement, imaginary history, imaginary I am going through time and space and I have a history and I have a biography and all that kind of stuff. But all of that is the story. Hi, Sue. Oh, I can't hear you, Sue. You have to unmute.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So I just popped into my head. The world is a story.
Yeah. Bingo.
The world is a story.
Yeah, there's no world actually. Because it's a story.
Bloody.
Bloody. I know.
Hell.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, oh golly gee. Okay, I'll let that sink. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Lee. Hi.
Hello. So after, not even after, when you answer the question, and then the next, there's not even, and then the thing that happened was there's only one, I don't even know what this is talking about. There's only one, there's
only whole.
I couldn't. I'm laughing and then crying at the same. There's only one. There's only one.
Yeah. And there's no one. There's only this. Yeah. Yeah. It's just seeing that everything is a narrative, that there's no one. There's only all this. All that there is this.
It's suffocating, but not suffocating. It's that there's just one. This job so full, like it's.
Yeah, it's actually it's suffocating, but it's also freeing, because if there's never been anyone here, all that there is this, and it's all free. Yeah.
Not even free or not free. It's just.
That's just word again. See, you went
Yeah.
beyond me now. You're the new speaker. It's great. It's great. Yeah, it's just you can't even say it, right? It's like
No, I can't. No,
yeah.
not even. Like I have like I.
You're trying to come up with words, but
Yeah,
one or
yeah.
no one are just words.
No.
Me,
Yeah.
no me are just words. They're all stories. There's no story. End of story.
I'm shaking.
That's it. Can't really be explained in words.
I'm crying and laughing. This is so weird. It feels weird to breathe. It's like
yeah, because there's no one.
I can breathe. This like
it's just happening.
This thing can breathe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just not even I
yeah.
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 Wait.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Call me later if you like. Just message me. Okay, Lee?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. It's just this. Wordless. This. So this is even saying too much. Lee actually had a better expression because saying it muddies it. I always say this, that every time that someone speaks about this, there's already so much clarity that speaking it muddies it. It's already clear waters. It's already clear skies. Nothing wrong with muddy and cloudiness, though. It's just what's happening as well. Question here from Factory Default. Never-ending story movie apparently appeared as the losing of magic by adulthood, losing the magic of childhood. Wonder, also a story. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that movie, I actually don't remember it as much, but I do remember that it's the loss of fantasy, the loss of the imagination, the seeing through. I think it ended with that I can't remember what it was, but it ended with a grain of sand. That was left of the fantasy was just this sand. Again, that's just a story as well. But thank you. Maybe I'll watch that movie soon. Dennis goes, does non-duality require a story to know itself through the seeing and hearing? It doesn't really require anything because everything is already non-dualistic. There's the illusion that it's dualistic, but dualistic and non-dualistic are actually the same. There's no separation whatsoever. There's this thought or an idea or a story that this is that and this is not that. But this is this and this is not that are the same. This and that are the same. Opposites are the same. You and I are the same. Nothing and everything is the same. Empty fullness is the same. Sorry, someone said, Emerson, you're hurting my head. There's no head.
Emerson, I want to thank you for your honesty.
Oh, thank you. Who's that? Who's that?
And
Hi, Anita. Let me put you on. Hi, Anita.
hi, Emerson.
Hi. How are you doing?
Yeah, touched by this love.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really
There's,
good.
it's obvious, isn't it?
Yes,
This is just unconditional.
yes, it is. Yes.
That is not being passed on to someone. It's everywhere
Yeah.
and nowhere.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. William.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
So, if everything that apparently happens is unconditional love, then that includes the experience of feeling like the me is trying to fight and survive this.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that's unconditional love. It feels like unconditional love would be a total letting go.
So you made a story about unconditional love. You made the conditions about it. So you just made a conditional love. This is my conditions of unconditional love. It has to be letting go. It has to be this. So you just made it into your own narrative. Nothing wrong or right about that, but I'm just calling you out, bro.
I think that's the best thing you said to me. These are my conditions of unconditional.
Yeah. It's obvious.
Thank you.
Okay. I am so sorry again to people on YouTube. This is just a story, but there's a seeming not wanting to be popular speaker by this character, so did not really advertise and they did not do it properly. So sorry, that was not intentional. Can you talk about loss? Loss is just another thing that is a seemingly an idea about something that cannot be lost. So loss and gain are actually the same. Everything actually is the same. We can say that everything is bingo. Everything is zero. Everything is nothing. Everything is everything. We can actually say anything because what's being expressed here does not live in words, cannot be contained by words. It can be hinted at in words, but the words are the veils to it sometimes. See just what happened there with William. He was basically saying that, unconditional love. So it understood the definition of unconditional and the definition of love. So all of the basis on that is just the definitions of these words that are completely meaningless, completely pointless, these words. They don't really mean anything at all. Thank you, Emerson. Body needs some sleep or not. Signing off. Yes, for sure. Yeah, message me, Lee. Let's talk. Um, it's really nothing. Nothing really happened, and I love you. Oh, thank you. Oh, Osho is here. Osho said, "Nice jacket, Emerson." Thank you, Osho. I haven't met Osho before, but he's here apparently. Yes, it does say Osho. Thank you, Osho. I like your documentary.
Wow, even Ocho's asking you questions. Holy smokes.
Oh no. Oh no, some people can't get in. So sorry about that. I'll do I'll do better. Oh, he's dead. Yes, Osho's dead, and so are you. Everyone here's dead. Yes, you. And you, Eligio.
Yeah, speaking of dying, I like to say, like, I used to want to witness it myself, witness my own death. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. It's a seeing that there's never been anyone, right? That's a seeing
Mm-hmm.
of death. That it never really,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really call it death because it was never really born. But the
Yeah.
idea of any ideas dies. So it's the death of ideas, the death of the narrator, the death of the narrative, the death of everything that was firmly held on to for quite a while, right? That's what dies. So it's seeing through your own death. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Osho goes, I live forever. Yep, in the story. Someone just got in the meeting. Yes, you just missed the most epic meeting ever. Um, sorry that there's a lot of technical difficulties. Sure. Can you talk about unlimited freedom? We'll say this again. Yeah, it's that seems to be a greatest hits. It's unlimited freedom, unconditional freedom. I don't know what else, but I'll say it. The moment that you picture what freedom is, the moment that you imagine what liberation is, the moment that you identify with suffering, the moment that there is an acceptance of the narrative that someone will get freed, is the distortion of what unlimited freedom is. It's a distortion. The moment that, and there's no one choosing this, right? But the seeing that if my freedom should look this way, or my conditions of my freedom is this way, then it's a manipulation of a story that cannot be controlled, a story that cannot be rewritten. So freedom becomes a different dictionary, becomes a different definition for everyone. But since, you know, this is just a story as well, but since what's being expressed here is unlimited freedom, or what's being asked to be expressed is unlimited freedom, any limitations, including this narrative about freedom, is a limitation and something that does not have any limits whatsoever. And it's not going to be pleasant of what unlimited freedom is. The perceiver of what it wants it to be wants all the pleasantness of unlimited freedom is. But what it doesn't see is that the limited includes everything. That's why it's not limited. It includes whatever appears. All the scariest stuff and all the blissful stuff. Because there's no limitations to freedom is. Garrett goes, Thank you so much, Osho. Emerson, can you comment on Ukraine war? I find it upsetting. Would you say nothing is happening? Thanks. Yeah, sure. I can comment on that one. Um, when this character, this is just a story, first heard about that news and saw like a TV thing, there was sadness here. Lots of sadness. Sadness was coming out, but it's not coming out from someone. It's appearing. Um, and I think it cried a little bit, like, oh wow, that's going on. Um, but that's just what's happening. So what's being expressed here is not a denial or not a the character actually is a character in the story that cries and does whatever, but it's seen through and through as a character. But it's not a denial or a bypassing of a character. It's actually the full expression of a character. But the character, since it's not invested in its reality anymore, it sees through that the fragmented reality is not really happening. So when sadness happens, it pours out and it doesn't really stick. So anger happens, but it doesn't last for, 20 episodes. Laughter happens. It's kind of like a little kid. I tried to explain to someone, when there's a little kid that they're easy to cry and easy to laugh. You can do the most silliest jokes and the kid will laugh, and you can say the whatever, right? So it's just the story. So everything is just seen as a story, but a real story at the same time. So it's surreal. Because when you're dreaming at night, because it feels really real, when someone dies or when there's a war or something that's happening in Ukraine or in Russia or whatever, it feels surreal that you cry. Even though you know, or no one knows actually, even though that it's seen, that it's just a dream. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? Yeah, so in the dream, a dream at night or this dream, because this is a dream, like a dream, but it's not really a dream. Everything that happened feels real. So if someone tickles me, I'll giggle. If someone punches me in the face, I'll say ouch and maybe punch back or forgive right away. I don't know. Because no one knows. Since there's no one here, there's an apparent reaction, but everything's happening all at once. Oh, people are messaging me. Sorry about that. I really don't know what to do. There seems to be a problem with the with one stream, which is the one streaming thing. What I'll do is I'll post this. I will download it and post it, and next meeting I'll do better. I'll just make sure that I announce it more and all that kind of stuff and have the links. I'm sorry. Not intentional. William, go ahead.
So basically, the dream or part of the dream is that there's a length of time between birth and death called my life, in which I experience what's happening. It's kind of a question because basically I'm
not understanding it. Go ahead.
Okay, so no, I'm probably not being clear, but I feel like I'm alive now, and I'm hoping liberation is very soon. And you know what I mean? It feels like I hate the fact that there's still a length of time to wait. And I wonder if that's just coming out of the dream, that there's a length of time called the rest of my life between now and liberation, or physical death, which would also be liberation. Which I want to speed up, which I also want to speed up as well. Sorry.
It doesn't make sense. Right? Because I'm not really understanding. So repeat that again, because that doesn't make sense.
The normal way of people experience life is I'm born, I'll die at some point. There's this period of time between birth and death.
Okay.
In which I'm alive and I experience what's happening in this and that and the other. Is that a dream that there's still a length of time between now and death?
But did I just not tell you that you're dead? So everything that you're telling me is a story. It's a ghost story right now, right? So you're born and you're going to die. So everything is a narrative. Everything that you're telling me is you're guessing. It's like So I'm going to born, everything that is seemingly appearing is it's all right. There's nothing wrong or right about that, but it seems like you're dodging what's being expressed to you over and over again because there's this investment in being a seeker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't really want what's being expressed.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I hate that. I hate that you're right in that way because, yeah, me going, oh, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? How long have I got to wait? It's
the addiction.
It is like an addiction, isn't it?
Yeah. It's addicted to the story of getting it, and one day I will get it. This will be the next time. This will be because when it finally sees that there's nothing to get, then it loses all of this magic. When it sees that it's really nothing, it's kind of like that story of never-ending story, that everything that you've been looking for is the same as a grain of dust. It's nothing.
Thank you.
It wants the fantasy. It's
Yeah.
invested in the fantasy. Yeah.
That's why it's always pushing it out into the future.
Oh yeah.
Because it just keeps that whole addiction going.
Yeah. You haven't even contacted me. Someone actually paid for a one-on-one with you and I. But you've been
I
avoiding
know.
that.
I'm really bad at scheduling things.
Uh-huh,
Like, terrible.
This
especially if it involves...
this apparent person had an apparent seeing, and then he was laughing, and he goes, "You know what I want to do is I want to sponsor William for this apparent seeing."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's paid for already, so I don't know.
I'll contact you when I feel up to dying.
It's like I want to die, but it seems like it's a costume. It's like a character, the character wants to, but it's not serious about it. It's like a con man. Nothing wrong or right about that, but it's just what seems to be seen here.
You call me right, Emerson. You call me right out on my bullshit. You are.
Yeah.
I want to die. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you off the hook this time. Message me. Hi, Rosa.
Hey, Emmy.
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Here's a very, very strong impulse towards William. Hey, William. When I see you, I just see unconditional love.
There you
Really. Unconditional, just this. There is no escape, man. You can't avoid it. You are it already full on. Okay, just this. I wanted to share this. Thank you.
You,
I love you.
Thank you. So there you go.
She thought, if he won't let Emerson kill him, I'm going to do it.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Question here. Thank you so much for being so radical. How did you get this cruel? Cruel? Thank you. That's cool. Oh, okay. Thank you for meaning that you're so effective. Thank you. Not really effective. Oh, okay. There's a question. There's a whole bunch of questions here. Sorry. Obviously, I am not dead. My body is using my hands to write you now. Yes. So that's the illusion, right? There's the illusion that there's this aliveness and stillness appearing at the same time. again, words are not going to be able to amply express what's trying to be expressed here. That this is stillness appearing as movement. That this is peacefulness. People don't like the word dead. I like using it. The word dead is just a word, meaning that it's already peaceful. It's already still. So this stillness, this is actually 99.99% emptiness space. Everything is 99.99%. So all of this movement is an illusion, it's aliveness that seemingly appears coming up from nowhere, that there's seeming a movement, but it's really stillness. That there's really silence, but sound is appearing. The story is that there is a hand that's moving back and forth writing to me, but that's the story. In order to be dead, wouldn't I have to be born and to be a me who would have died? Wouldn't it be more accurate to say I was never born? Yes, again, these are just words. I can say that you're a carrot or you're a marshmallow. It doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is that there's this movement that is appearing, stillness is appearing as movement. I'm just using words that there's this rascal in this character that likes to poke things. It's using a concept to dispel the concept that you are real. No one was ever born. No one has ever died. There's no such thing as death. There's no such thing as life. These are just words trying to express the wordless. It can never be fully defined because it's undefinable. So these meanings are appearing as an expression or an illumination that nothing is happening, that no one has ever been here, that no one has been born or no one will die. Holding on to these words, and I like pulling these words back out and saying that believing in anything is an idea, is a story. The believer and the belief systems are both illusory. You could be a Twitch streamer. You're in a gaming chair. Yeah, this is a game. I really like the color red. That's why there's this red chair here. It's just a story as well. It doesn't really matter. There's a question here from Not Me. Hello, Emerson. When there is no person, how about relationships? Could be things like fidelity or loyalty on the sense to be a father, for example. There are no relationships because there's no person. It's just really simple. There's no one. You've never had any relationship with anyone. No one had any relations with you. No one has ever had any relationships at all. So again, what's being expressed here, that everything is appearing all at once, all together. To signify that there is a relationship, there seems to be a passing of time. There seems to be this illusion. So again, what's being expressed here is the illusion appearing as real. The illusion is so real that there appears to be others. There appears to be separation. So there appears to be fidelity or loyalty, but they're all an illusion. Or the sense to be a father, or the sense to be a brother, or the sense to be whatever. It's illusion. But in the immediacy, in the directness of what's being expressed here, in this all at onceness, in this all at onceness, in this all at onceness, there's nothing happening. So there's no relationship, there's no others, there's no you, there's no morality, there's no good or bad, there's no history, there's no space, there's no science, there's no religion, there's no spirituality, there's no non-duality. It's just appearing as a story. So this is infinity appearing as a segmented story about a me or a you, a speaker and a seeker. There's nothing special here. This is all equal level. This is ground zero. I don't know anything and you don't know anything. There's speaking happening here. I don't know why. There's listening happening there. Why? All that is being expressed is that this is already unknowable. Perfection. Rosa gave a heart. This is unknown. So all I can really do, although there's no one here, is express the clarity and undeniability that there's never been anyone here. And that's what's seen. And seemingly there's people that, there's like, I don't know how many people are here, 60 plus people here that comes to these meetings to feel the resonance, although there's no one feeling, of what's already known all along. It happens, it apparently happens the moment that you wake up from your sleep. There's no one, there's never been anyone. Before you go to sleep, there's an absence, there's never been anyone. In the deep sleep, there's never been anyone. When you black out when you're drinking, there's never been anyone. There's just this obviousness that there's never been anyone here. At the same time, there's someone here that feels real, the illusion. That there's someone here that goes through time and space, that apparently wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, sleeps for 4 hours, eats breakfast, all that kind of stuff. This story that's happening, this never-ending story, is appearing simultaneously with infinity. Appearing simultaneously. So it's really unknowable. Really unknown. I don't know anything, and no one knows anything, and that's the most obvious. Hi, Anne. In full tilt seeker mode, listening to Let's Change the Me type speakers. I know it's because feeling uncomfortable. Does that activity reinforce me? A speaker once said that. Okay, can you said that? Why do that if you are doing this? Can you speak to that, please? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why, there's probably an earnestness that that someone can change the me. There's this, they're in the dream. So when there's nothing wrong or right about in the dream, that's just a story, right? So when there's a speaker that wants to change the me type, wants to um change things, it's because they believe. So there is a location, there's a source, there is a knowing. So the me lives in knowing. The me knows that I'm here, that I woke up in the morning, that I like coffee. What's being expressed here is that there's no one. If you want to expand on that question, answer, I did not probably read that correctly, but I'm just going on in an idea here that what's being said here is that a speaker once said, "Why do that if you are doing this?" Can you speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Can you express that?
Hi.
And sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, as a seeker,
Mm-hmm.
it was all about transformation and change,
Oh, okay. That's what you mean. Yeah.
and negative emotions and
Oh, yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. And there's a feeling of discomfort here at the moment, and that's where I seem to be going back to, is looking for that sense of feeling the transformation of the negative emotion.
Yeah.
Yet somebody said to me, because I spoke to somebody and they were kind of like saying to me, and I was saying, it just seems my go-to when I get stressed.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like,
about that.
but they were kind of like saying, well, why are you doing that if you want to do this? So the non-duality stuff, why would you head towards that other stuff if you want to do the non-duality? And I was just wondering whether doing the other stuff reinforces the me, the sense of the me.
Everything that you just said to me is just a narrative and trying
Okay.
to it's kind of like there's this alarm clock here blaring, boop boop, and you want to keep on pressing the snooze button.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong or right about pressing the snooze button.
Mm.
So that seems to be what happens is when the narrator wants to go back into the narrative, is they just want to press the snooze button. There's nothing wrong or right about that. So snooze, go ahead. That's no problem. You don't have any choice anyways. You know when you're snoozing a button, do you have any choice? It just happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just this sense of the meaning and being thing.
Yeah.
It can't be. I'm just thinking it can't be being if I can talk myself out of it. Because
So there's really no meaning and there's really no being as well.
yeah.
So this narrative that there is a liberation and contraction is just actually allness, everythingness, appearing as this or that. So it's just stillness appearing as movement. There's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just a story.
Yeah.
It's a story, it's a narrative appearing. But when the only thing that usually happens is when there is a held on to belief in the story as the narrative that's going to free me. This story will free me. This story will get me out of the story. So meaning and being actually is sameness happening all at once. There's nothing wrong or right about that. But once it's seen that there's no meaning and there's no being, then it's kind of like it has this looseness and this relaxation saying that, all this time I was, as if I had any choice. Here I was going to workshops about getting a better me. But meaning and being and even, listening to this is trying to reinforce that I am here. Everything is reinforcing that I am real. There's this other chorus of saying that, well, I'll go to this one that tells me that I'm not real. That's also a reinforcement that I am not, that it's real. Does that make any sense? So anything that you do, there's no one know you doing it anyway. It's a reinforcement.
It's a reinforcement.
Yeah, of nothing.
Of no. Oh gosh.
There's no one choosing it anyway. It's kind of like, I need your advice. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
Behave. Okay.
Yeah. Silly idea now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kim, thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, Kim. Oh, I can't hear you, Kim. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hello, Emerson. How are you?
Hello, lovely. How are you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. Actually, I was just sharing in your humour. You're laughing because my background's gone all funny. Yesterday, I had such a funny experience. It wasn't real, obviously, but this lady come up to me and she says to me, I just couldn't stop laughing in the shop. She says, that day I met you, you had a profound impact on my life and all this. And I just could not stop laughing all day yesterday because I thought it was just hilarious.
Yeah.
she obviously thinks that I'm a person and I've done something too. And I just said, well, it might be. I didn't say anything actually, but and then when the other lady was talking, I just think this is so hilarious because in 1 minute, one time I am so serious, and then in the other everything just drops, and it is so funny.
It is, isn't it?
It's so it's absolutely hilarious the way that everything is so well, it's not serious now because I've realised through the illusion that it's just made me, it's hilarious. It's really funny.
The illusion is that it's real, so it's serious, right? So there's this kind of like, seriousness and really it's kind of brutal in a way because there's this why so serious in something, and when it's seen that it's just this cosmic joke.
I know.
It's and it becomes this really. It's almost like disappointing. It's almost disappointing because there's this grandiose idea of what a fantastical idea of what fantasy enlightenment should be. And then when it's nothing really
to do with that.
Nothing to do with that. Yeah.
Do you know what I realised? I realised that I woke up the one morning and I realised that I hadn't actually looked at my wardrobe because my wardrobe looked completely different to how it had ever looked. But I'd never actually looked at my wardrobe because I didn't like it. And then all of a sudden I really liked it.
Yeah.
It sort of stood out like a three-dimensional and it was so amazing. It was really like, oh look, and I wanted to really look at it and look at the grain of the wood, and you know what I mean. It was just so it was as if I hadn't seen it for I've never seen it before, but I'd always been in the room.
It's always fresh. But now. It's
always fresh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just think that animals, that again, although it's an illusion, animals are just so funny that cats and dogs don't have problems, do they? No animals have problems and they're so happy doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that we can just learn about to be with their playfulness, because life is about being playful and to enjoy or being that. It's just energy, isn't it, really?
It's beautiful.
That was so funny yesterday. I just thought it was hilarious. But sometimes when people are telling me really bad things and serious things, I want to laugh, but you can't, can you? Just want to laugh, and I
sometimes
can't.
I still do. Sometimes I still do. Sometimes when people are bickering and arguing, I just get into I just get into a giggle of laughter. And it's just because it's seen that everything is pure and innocent. There's nothing wrong or right. Everything is, yeah.
It is. But when I used to go and listen to Tony, I realised after sitting there for 5-6 years that I hadn't actually listened to a word he'd ever said. I'd never listened, and it's the same with you.
Yeah.
But I'd never listened. I didn't listen to, I do listen to you now, but I didn't want to know because you're on that next step. You want to, what's in it for me, isn't it? This is in it, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And then I realised I'd never ever listened to, because he says, you say, and Tony Parsons used to say, well, if you listen to what I've talked about previously, but nobody really listens, do they?
No.
So they're not here anyway because they're in the head, but they're not here because they're not here.
Yes.
So this is sort of a bit complex too. It can be, I can understand where people get confused and they can get angry and distressed.
Yeah, because there seems to be a holding on. Yeah, it's not really. It's actually really simple. The way that
it is.
It's really simple.
It is when you see things like new. Everything's new.
Yeah. Yeah. What's being talked about here is not really cryptic. It's really plain. It's really plain. Because there's really no one here that knows. So what's being expressed is actually unknowing. It's not sounding intelligent, or it doesn't even make sense at all. But it tries to describe it in its simplistic way, because it's like there's so much clarity, But sometimes using words, stirs the pot and makes it a little bit salty.
I think it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
null
But
and
there's
void.
joyfulness
Yeah.
here, though, in talking about this, and it's just I don't even know how it happens, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a nice communication. It's a nice resonance and an energy that's shared with whoever, isn't it? And yeah,
Thank you.
can be a relaxation as well for some.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. This has been such a, it's just so much fun talking about nothing and just expressing this clarity that cannot really be spoken. So going back to what I was saying, that everything and anything is a story. The moment that you hold on to a speaker, including this speaker, and hold on to the words, then you've just made it into a story. You just made it into a narrative. You just made it into an understanding. There's no one choosing it. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. Holding on to words like, unconditional love or, all that kind of stuff, there's nothing wrong or right about that. But it becomes a never ending story because that becomes the new carrot on the stick that's dangled. It becomes the new attainment. It becomes the new liberation. Another word will pop up again sometimes. Someone said to me, how do I get to unconditional wow? And that's why I stopped using that unconditional wow, is because it can become a catchphrase again. There's no one choosing it. The reason I keep on changing words, and there's no one choosing here, words from show to circus to party to anything, right? Because what's being expressed here cannot really be fully expressed in words. They are actually wordless and trying to express something that cannot be expressed. There's this aliveness here in expressing something that's completely still. There's this joyfulness in expressing that everything is dead and alive at the same time. But that doesn't even capture it. So thank you so much, everyone. Tomorrow is Tony's stuff, so I'm not going to have any pop-up meetings, just in case you're expecting that. It's Tony Parsons' 2-day thing, my imaginary dad. And next week, I might do something. So thank you so much, everyone. You guys can stay to do, a breakout room or something. I'm going to stop the recording here. Bye, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Kim.
you,
Bye.
Thank you,
Jeremy.
Emerson.
Thank you, Emerson.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Emerson.
So
Farhan,
Emerson.
thank you,
Dennis,
Emerson.
Rosa, Manuela,
Thank you.
Robert,
Thank you.
Micah,
Thank you.
everyone that I've not mentioned, Antonella,
Bye.
and so
Have a
many
nice
people.
time.
Yeah, it's great.
All right.
Great. Thank you so much. Howard,
you.
Howard is here. Thank you. VJ, Megan,
Thank you.
thank you. I'll pause the recording.